Hi, welcome back to Community Conversations. I'm Tina Howard. Today I have a fun guest with me that you'll enjoy very much. Her name is Angela Rowland. Angie, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on. You're a brave woman.
I'll let you know in a little while how brave I am.
You and I I became acquainted with you through Heart Talk. And then later I met you at a chamber function.
Yes.
So I met you online before I met you in person, which is probably how a lot of people meet you now, through Heart Talk. So talk a little bit about who you are and what you're doing. I find Heart Talk to be very interesting, so we can start with that.
Okay.
So tell us about Heart Talk.
Well, Heart Talk got started. My husband and I were sitting on the couch one day, and he's a Air Force veteran, and he fought in Gulf War I.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And we were just sitting there with, having a conversation about my dad being in Vietnam and him serving in the war, and we were actually watching mainstream news.
Okay.
And, it was just conversations of bad. Everything was, about murder or going to war, bringing troops home, or, this and that. And we just got in the conversation of, wouldn't it be great if there was a source of just good news? No ambulance chasing, no bad news whatsoever, all about what good is in communities. Mm-hmm. And of course, being from Hartwell originally, born, raised here, we wanted to kind of set it around this area, but we wanted to be able to take it beyond. And so we came up with Heart Talk, and it's Heart Talk, Lake Hartwell and beyond. And that started right at the end of 2009, and then we went live with it in 2010. So.
Fantastic. Now, how does one access Heart Talk? I found it on Facebook.
Yes, we have our social media community on Facebook, but you can also, it's www.hearttalk.com.
Okay.
And we're actually in the process of revamping our website to kind of bring it up to date, and we're going to have some new features on there. One of those I was speaking with you earlier is the Sounds of Lake Hartwell. We're inviting, musicians and bands and singers to send us their material, and we're going to upload it and kind of showcase, and it be kind of a little historical record of the music around Lake Hartwell. And
my gosh, that's fantastic. Yeah. Do you realize how much musical history in Hart County has been lost because there wasn't a way to preserve it? So we have so much talent.
We do. And it's like, the more that I've been researching the bands, I'm like, wow, I didn't know that they had a band, or I didn't know that they, were singers or songwriters or, anything like that. So it's been fun researching all of them.
What a great idea. Okay, so I'm a little bit of a dummy. I can get on Facebook and Instagram and all that. So how would I access the music part?
Well, you would find that on our website, hearttalk.com.
So go to your website.
And it's a link. You just press it, and then it'll pop up, and it's got Sounds of Lake Hartwell. We actually have a tab right there on the front page, so you can't miss it.
I think even I could do that.
Yes, you can do that.
Now, when you click that, would you be listening to people's songs?
You get to pick. Right now, we haven't. This is the first time we've made it public.
Okay.
I've reached out to a friend of mine, Steve Coughlin. I met him through doing his website. I built his website for him, and so I reached out to him, and he's like, sure, great, plug me,
Yes.
And then I reached out to Mike Rice.
Steve is a local singer-songwriter.
He is.
Give him the plug here. He has also been on the show with Wayne Bailey. So
yes, two remarkable people.
Yes, and excellent musicians.
Yes. And then I reached out to Mike Rice of Diamondback. He played at the Lake Hartwell Music Festival. Yeah. And so I was like, I kind of know him. He's my first cousin. So I was like, Mike, I'm putting your song, The Bull, on the website. And he's like, whatever you think, cuz I trust you. Perfect. And I said, it's just another avenue for these singers and bands to get their music out. You know, we cover a lot of area, and we're shared a lot. So it's just a way to get them out locally.
Fantastic. Give us an example of the types of stories that you'll do on Heart Talk.
Well, this past weekend, I was actually shopping with my sister, Gina Talbert, at Anderson Mall, and I noticed, well, actually, my son Luke texted me, and he's like, "Mom, you got to come out here and look at all these motorcycles." I'm like, "Okay." So venture out into the mall, and they have them lined up against the wall, and their saddlebags are open, and it's got candy in it. So the first thing I do is get on there, Anderson Mall, research it a little bit, and it's where these organizations like Tim's Harley Davidson, the city police department, fire department, they come together and they have what's called Bag or Treat, and they put it on at the Anderson Mall. So it's just, community. It's community-based stories.
So you wrote about that?
Yes, I wrote about it, and I can't even remember how far it reached out. It reached like 5,000 people because it's a human interest. It's good news. It's fun.
Thank you for saying that, because I feel like that's what this show aims to be, is human interest stories. We hear enough about the stock market and greed and corporate this and that and healthcare, and we miss the stories about people.
Yes.
And so I'm glad that you covered that, because that's important.
That is what Heart Talk's about. It's about community, and it's about the people who make up those communities, whether it be a law enforcement getting an award, or Pickens County Band, going to competition, or the Hart County High School, their festival that they put on each year, inviting all of them. It's about community and those that make up that community.
Fantastic. And it sounds like you cover more than just Hartwell.
We do. I actually got invited back, I believe it was 2014. Heart Talk, of course, is Facebook, Twitter, and then we have the website. And I was chosen to visit Kennedy Space Center in Florida because of my social networking with Heart Talk.
Wow.
So I got to go down there behind the scenes, meet astronauts and the administration over NASA down there. And we got to go out and, look at the crawler, which moves the rockets around and to the launch pad. And we actually got to go behind scenes that, no one outside of NASA, and it's where they actually keep the space shuttles and the rockets down there. So it was very, it was overwhelming, really, to see what all they do, and then sit in on a press conference with them and listening to what, their future down there looks like and what all they're, being involved in. And that's just first of many. I've been invited with the Pro Bass Circuit to, go out and do photography coverage and media coverage with them because of, Heart Talk. And so it's taken me around a good bit. And I actually, Carla Bannister, I worked with her at McGee. Funny story, she had bought a camera, put it in her closet after she had gotten it, and when I started working there, I was like, "Bring it up here, let me look at it." And I told her, I said, "You've got to get out there and start, taking some photos." I said, "You would enjoy it." And she's like, I told her what settings to use and everything, and she's just taking it really beyond. She's actually on the chamber little calendar thing that they put out, Live Well, Hartwell. Her photos actually was chosen to be on that.
Fantastic! I never knew that.
Yeah,
And
she really
Our
does.
kids went to school together, so I've known her, but I did not know she was a photographer.
Yes, and I've actually used her in some of the local fishing, like when Pro Bass comes or whatever, they're putting on something out at the lake. Because she is involved in, the fishing with the Hart County High School anglers. My son and her son actually fish together, and she's actually their photographer. But I've got her on board, and that's another thing with Heart Talk. I would like to invite anyone that has a story that they want to share. All you got to do is contact us. Of course, we'll give you the courtesy of story by or whatever. We will mention you in the credits, that you've sent us that story, because we want it to be community-based.
Sure.
And so if you know of something or you see something that's going on for the good, all you got to do is contact us. You can contact us through Facebook, through the website, hearttalk.com, or you can email me at Angie85webdesign.com.
Angie, we're going to put all that on the screen. Angie at 85web.com.
Angie at 85webdesign.com.
Thank you.
He's got the card.
We're going to put it on the screen. But
Wes
that's
got the
great
card.
because there are a lot of people who, they may want to write a little something about a car show they went to, or
Yes.
about fireworks that they went to, or about something special that happened at their church, or an encounter they had at
Yes.
Walmart, or something like
Yes.
that. Would be great to know those things. Now, do you have to be a really good writer to submit that to?
No.
Okay.
Anything that you send in, of course, I would edit it if need
You would
be.
edit. Good.
Yes.
Okay.
So
Well,
it would
good.
look all professional when we put it up.
Fantastic, because a lot of people are not comfortable telling their story in writing. So not everybody's a journalist. Speaking of journalists, how did you come by your credits in journal? I mean, were you in journalism to study? Were you a diary keeper as a kid? Are you self-taught?
I've always been a writer.
Okay.
Ever since I was little, I've always written something for our Christmas with our family. I would read whatever I'd written for that year, and then we would read the Christmas story, of course. And it's always been a passion of mine to actually write.
So were you a little kid doing this?
Yes.
Okay, so you were standing
Yes.
up in front of your family.
Yes.
And that is so cool. I hope you
Yes.
kept all of that.
The majority of it I have. A lot of it got misplaced, or my grandparents kept it, or whatever. But yeah, I've always done that. But as far as anything else, I'm actually self-taught.
Good.
Yes,
Good.
I was one of those kids growing up that I had a wonderful family, and they were. My parents are great. To this day, my dad still thinks I'm going to run for mayor.
Oh, maybe you will.
Maybe one day. Watch out. But I was one of those kids that I never had when I grow up I want to be. I was different every day. This day I might want to be a ballerina. Tomorrow I might want to be a soldier or a police officer. I never had my mind set on what I wanted to be. And then after high school, life happened. I met my husband, and we had kids, and it wasn't I couldn't find, what I wanted to do. I would try different things. Like I love thrift shopping. And I might find a dress or something and turn it into a skirt. Just different things like that. The creative part of it. And so I've thought about being a designer, and a lot of things went through my mind, but I knew that I wanted to do something creative. And I wanted to do something that made people happy.
Now, where does that come from? Did you grow up seeing people struggle, or were they, conversely, were they happy and that made you happy? I mean, did you see some struggle?
I think with me, it was the middle child syndrome. I had an older sister and then a younger brother there for a long while, and then I have another younger sister. Mm-hmm. So I think that being that middle child, not necessarily that I fought for attention, because my parents evenly gave us attention, but I was just a doer. I wanted to help people, since I was little. If my dad was fixing something under the hood of a car, I was right there with him. I know how to change my oil. I know how to change my tire.
Wow.
It was just, wanting to be that helpful hand. And even now, my husband laughs at me because he knows if he's doing something, that if I walk out there, hand me the tool, because I want to, even if it's just 5 minutes, give me the screwdriver. I'm going to do it for 5 minutes. It's just that sense of helping.
Yeah.
And going, he gets on to me because a lot of it is I go beyond what I should be doing. Take care of yourself, Angie.
Boy,
But I just enjoy it.
What a great kid to have, though.
Yes.
Somebody that wants to. Okay, while we're talking about your parents and your family, let's give them a shout. Tell us about your peeps.
Well, my parents are Donna and Terrell Vickery.
Donna and Terrell Vickery.
Yes.
Okay.
My dad's native of Hart County.
Okay.
My mom's from Elbert County.
Okay.
My grandparents are Daisy and Ralph Vickery. So it's almost like if you don't know my parents, you knew my grandparents.
Yes.
And then if you don't know them, I always say, well, my sister's Gina Talbert, and my brother-in-law is Alan Talbert, and he's the band director at the
So
high
people
school.
can't place you one way,
So-
they're going to place you another because
Yes.
everybody knows there's
Yes.
not anybody that doesn't know who those people are. So
Yes.
that's great.
But
So deep roots in Hart County.
oh
huh?
yes, most definitely.
Yeah.
And I've traveled some, and my husband's traveled all over the world basically, and but I've always come home. This is my home,
Yeah.
and I love it.
So where have you been that made an impression or gave you some creative ideas?
I think just people in general.
So you see, I'm a people person too.
Yes,
So yeah.
like you don't have to really go out anywhere. You don't have
Yeah.
to leave your community to find
go to
the creative
baseball game and I'm looking at the people in the audience.
Yes,
I'm
I'm
not
the same
following
way.
the game. It's horribly annoying to my husband. We'll go to a football game and I'm watching who's here, what are they doing.
I love it.
I couldn't help it. I just always found the people in the audience more interesting than what was happening on the field. Sorry, kids. I really did watch you.
Yeah, we're cheering you home. No.
Anyway, but we are people. So when you traveled, was there a place where you felt connected to people particularly? Found the people to be kind or unkind? Or different, or
It's different. I think everywhere you go, you have that balance of kindness and unkindness.
Yeah.
And I don't really look at the unkindness of people as that's who they are. I always try to give them the benefit of the doubt
Yeah.
that they're having a bad day.
or what could they be going through?
Yeah, most definitely, because you don't know, what's been going on in their lives to make them that way.
Yeah.
So I've never looked at that as being, negative and
Yeah.
in any way. So it's
My husband and I traveled to Kazakhstan to adopt children, so we went there several times. And you want to say, oh, people are people no matter where you go. And they were some of the kindest, most wonderful people that we met over there. There were two things that stood out to me. One is how wasteful we were. Because the first day I'm there, we've collected all these water bottles, and I don't know what to do with them. Mm-hmm. So I asked the woman at the village, is there a recycling facility? What a dumb thing. What a dumb American thing to ask. And she looked at me like I had two heads. And I said, well, then is there a trash can someplace? And she just shook her head and walked away. And I thought, this must be a language barrier thing. And so somebody else came and said, just put what you don't want right here. So we did. And it was what you typically throw away in a day or recycle in a day. And it was gone. And then the next day we found it implemented someplace else. The hairdryer that I blew up had all of the parts deconstructed. They used the cords to tie up the rose bushes, and it's just unlike anything we know. And the other thing was, they told us to. My kids said that we came in with our teeth showing, like we were smiling at everybody all the time because that's what we do. But they're much more reserved, and I never thought about it being off-putting to be smiling at somebody, but they took it almost as arrogance. Like you think you own the place, you walk in here and you smile at people. So fascinating stuff to learn. And I never ever would have thought that we'd be looking at ourselves from outside of ourselves. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So anyway.
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah. So people are different, and you learn so much when you travel and you meet
it's
other
just
people.
like you and I. We're, we may be similar in some ways, but, we're different in a lot of ways as well.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it fascinating.
It is. Father-in-law used to say that's what makes a horse race. He never wanted people to be alike or agree on things because it made things uninteresting.
I believe that.
So back to high school. You're in high school and you're a writer. You keep little notes, diaries, things like that?
Yes, my grandmothers on both sides actually would keep little things they would get in the mail, like journals, and if they went to the dollar store or something, they would pick me up one to give for my birthday or whatever. And so I have quite a few, and most of them is, poetry that I had written.
Oh, nice.
It's a sad fact, but, my grandmother wanted me to speak at her funeral. and I spoke at my grandfather's funeral, and then my great aunt just passed and it was just the words that I put in, and people were like, well, are you nervous about, doing this? And I'm like, no, have you, got everything you need? No, I haven't written it yet. What? And I'm like, when the Lord gives me what I need to say, then I will put it on paper. And I remember my grandfather's funeral, it was an hour before we had to be at the funeral home. And it was some of the most sweetest, from my perspective, some of the most sweetest memories of a man who had, a huge impact in my life. But that's just how I am. I don't think about what I write. It's got to flow within me, and it comes from my heart and soul instead of me sitting here, okay, well, this goes with this, and this goes with this. And it will literally be 4 or 5 sheets of paper that I will eventually put in line to how it needs to go.
Wow.
So, yes.
That's an artistic process.
Well, I believe I'm creative in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I would say gifted.
So, like with music, I love music. Music's been a huge part of my life, and I think that's one reason why my husband and I both wanted to do the Sounds of Lake Hartwell on Heart Talk, is I played piano at an early age, but I couldn't read music. And I had a teacher, Evelyn Hall, and she would let that creative side of me to do my own music. The last 15 minutes of, practice.
Oh, wow.
She would give me that to sit there and do whatever I wanted to on the piano.
Gosh, how many teachers would do that? That's a great
She was a
gift.
remarkable piano teacher. Yeah, she wanted that creative side to come out in you.
Yeah.
And I try anything. I've tried the violin, one of the hardest instruments I've ever picked up. I play around on guitar a little bit, and my husband is wonderful. He, if he sees a weird instrument, he buys it for me. He actually got me a ukulele a few weeks ago. It's not a weird instrument, but anything
it's unusual.
Anything that he sees that's unusual, he orders it for me, and he's like, "Here, I got you something."
Do you get on YouTube and look at tutorials on? Yeah.
Yes. Cool. Now I get a lot of it. Mr. Talbert,
Sure.
He's been in my life since I was in the 4th grade. That's how long him and Gina have been together. And he taught me drums. And then that's what I played in the marching band, was cymbals and the drums. And then he's taught me a few things on the guitar. Now that YouTube is such a big sensation, of course I get on there like the ukulele. I mean, like 4 notes, and I can play anything from Journey to hymns,
Wow.
So, yeah,
cool.
It's fun, interesting.
So you must have a gift of music too, because it's something that is you can teach somebody to sight read, but I don't know if you can teach somebody to play by ear.
Yes,
that's a real gift. So you were gifted. Which of your parents, or both, were musical?
My dad. My grandmother sang in the choir at Sardis Baptist Church, and she played piano, and she's the one who got us, started in as far as playing piano.
Yeah.
And I remember the first song she ever taught me was Snowbird.
Oh, wow.
And, so it comes from my dad, and I think my dad had a band with Walter Gordon and them in high school, so.
Well, they need to reunite and put something on your Lake Hartwell music. Sounds of Lake Hartwell.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome.
It would be good. That's not the only thing that you do, Heart Talk. You also do a web design, which we mentioned, and that is that logo design or just web design? We
do a variety of things.
Okay.
We are social media marketing as well as web design.
Okay.
And as far as logos, I would actually, to me, that's where community and small businesses come together, is like if there's something that I'm not familiar with or not too sure, is reaching out to someone, locally that could help me with that.
Right, and partner up with them.
Yes, like Natalie Floyd. I actually reached out to her to do us McGee Heating and Air T-shirts for Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
That's great.
And, I had met her. Well, you actually introduced us.
I did, because Natalie was on the show last year when she was debuting her T-shirt line, and she designs logos. So I'm glad glad that you met. She's super
So
nice
being a part of the chamber, I really got to meet some great people that, if it's something I'm not familiar with, or I want to bring somebody in to do a collaboration on something, being able to reach out to those small businesses in the community to do so.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great resource.
Yes, but 85 Web Design, we have actually done McGee Heaton and Air's website. I've done Steve Coughlin's website, and I've also did Dean Brown Towing's website.
Okay.
And
everybody needs a website, right?
Yes, they do.
So you think, oh, I'm just a small business, I don't need a website. Yeah,
they
you
do.
Yeah.
They do. It brings you more recognition as far as online sales and that walk in the door sale. So a lot of people, they think because they are small business, their social media as well as a website is a huge marketing tool in this day and time.
And listen, if you're over 50, you don't know how to do it, so you got to get somebody under 50
and a lot of
to figure
people,
it out.
and I'm not knocking anyone, but a lot of people think because they have a personal Facebook page
Right.
that they can run a business page, and it's totally different.
Yeah.
The verbiage that you use, just the way you take a picture or the way you take a video, there's a lot that goes into that process, and you can't just sit down and snap it and put that up because, there's a lot that goes behind the scenes of that, and, how you want to tag it and how you want to get it out there, and if you're going to boost a post or, do an ad, there's just a lot that goes into that.
You are already so far over my head. I would never have known that, which is why it's important to get somebody to help you. Is it expensive to hire you to do a website?
No.
Okay.
No, not compared to outside sources that that I have, knowledge to.
Okay.
I actually, when I worked at Lanier Islands, it was a great place to work first and foremost. It was a great place to work, and the team that I work with taught me a lot out there.
Yeah, they know how to market, don't they?
They do. And so my marketing manager at the time, Jason Marlowe, he has his own marketing company.
Okay.
And so when McGee Heaton and Air was looking, to do their website, I reached out to him first, and I'm like, how much would you do this for? And, he gave me this number, and I'm like, whoa.
Really?
And so it went on, and, talking with my husband and everything.
You're like, I could do that.
Yeah. And McGee, and even though we, had built Heart Talk and My RaceNet and, different things like that, doing one for a company, it was a little, I'm not sure. So Robert and Chad said, do me a demo. Let me see what you got. And I did. And they were like, okay. And so I did it, for a fraction of the cost.
Wow.
Is what.
That is good to know.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Fraction of the cost.
Wow.
And
good
then
for
even
you.
with the social media, my packages are, to me, they're very cheap. And I hate to use that word, but for what you get. And my thing now is just getting rolling with it and all, as if, people are signing on with me, then they're actually getting a better deal because I'm giving them more this first go around of sign up.
To get off the ground a little bit. Now, what does it mean if I were to if I have a business called ABC Company and I get you to design the website, what does it mean that you're going to manage my social media? I don't know what that means.
Managing your social media is mainly your social media reputation.
Meaning you're going to log on as my
Yes.
company and push things out there to people?
Yes. And we would monitor your social media, so if any negativity comes up, you're right there to answer it, to contact. You kind of keep the conflict down, basically, is what it is.
Because one lone person can blow everything up.
Yes,
because
they
everything's
can.
so public now. Well,
And
that's interesting because in talking with the Merchants Association around here, the thing I heard over and over and over was how a small business person is busy running their shop and doing their accounting and hiring people and doing and so to manage their social media was something they were all doing at midnight, bleary-eyed in the bed trying, I've got to get this out there. So it'd be nice to be able to farm that out to somebody who is an expert in that and knows how to do it.
Yes.
So that would be good.
Yes, most definitely. With the changing, social media and even, like Google itself, it changes every day. Just about something new is coming out. And if you don't stay on top of it and you don't know, then you're kind of stuck in the times, So with everything, the way it's moving, digital marketing is most definitely the way to go.
Oh, it's huge. And how do you know about all of that? Are you self-read? Are you just interested in it?
Well, I'm self-taught. The very first website that I came about designing was called MyRaceNet.
Okay.
And Wes would remember that. It was about the local dirt track racing around here.
Okay.
And Wes here would actually record the races, and I would come by here and pick up a video. But we actually had 5,000 followers on MyRaceNet.
Wow.
But I was new to it, and I wasn't sure about platforms and all of that, and I wasn't a salesman, so I wasn't sure about selling ads to go on to keep it flowing and all of that, because I was actually paying out of pocket for this platform that I was using. But I loved the creative side of it. I was behind the camera. I would stand up at Toccoa on the side of a fire truck or on top of the fire truck and get hit with big mud clogs just to get them coming around the corner, or I'd be hanging out over the track and the flagman would be telling me, get back, get back. But it was just, creating that and putting it all together is what caught my attention. And then it was my aha. I know what I want to be when I grow up, So it's just kind of trickled into MyRaceNet. I did have to let it go because, like I said, I was paying for it out of pocket. Yeah. And I hated to do that because, like I said, we had built it up, with 5,000 followers.
Right.
And
that's a lot.
It's a huge sport around here,
It is.
And I would interview them and all of that.
Cool.
And it was just
so is that where people would log on to find out who won a particular race?
They would, and
who was going to be in a race?
Yes, and I would interview little kids, stuff like that that were starting out racing, and I'd do an interview and then I would video them going around the track, and I would just put that all together, and they thought it was the greatest thing. Here's a video with me in it.
Yeah.
So there again, I was making somebody happy.
Yeah.
But I didn't know a lot at that time. So that was around 2008. And so it just kind of moved along, and then Heart Talk came along, and then I'm like, I've got to, jump in further. But, school was out of the question, so I am self-taught in a lot of areas. And
now you don't have student debt.
Yeah, true. True. But it went from Heart Talk, and then, Lanier Islands actually, I saw it on social media. They were looking for interns, so I was actually the 39-year-old intern. I applied with a graphic that I had designed, and so I sent it in, and out of about, I don't know, it was hundreds of people that applied. They hired me and 2 other people to be their social media interns. Well, by 6 months, I was the supervisor over the interns.
Wow.
And then within a year, I had interviewed for their social media manager position, and I actually beat out college students for that. Wow. Because I had already had the experience.
Yeah.
And I was one that I drove an hour and a half to work. I would get there by 9, and it might be 7 or 8, 9 o'clock before I got home, because when I start something, I'm giving it my all.
Right.
And, the more I was out there, the more I could learn, from what angle to hold my camera to, the verbiage that I needed to use or the hashtags I needed to use. So I use really any job I've ever had, I've used that as my schooling and as my education. Don't get me wrong, education is well needed. Advise everyone to further their education. But for me, I felt like it wasn't an option. So I've used those jobs, in my past as stepping stones to where I'm at today.
Sure, absolutely. And you also are a good example of somebody who because of so much that's available to us now through your internships and your self-directed studies, you can learn things on you. It's out there.
Yes.
It's accessible, and you just have to be hungry for it and driven for it. Where do you think you got that drive? That come from anything in particular, anybody in particular?
I think it's just always been within me. I think I am who the Lord made me to be, and He gave me that. And it's always, been instilled into me with morals and values and, work ethic and, how to treat a human being. And I just think a combination of all of that, it just makes me want to do better tomorrow than I did today.
Gosh, you had a good upbringing.
I did. I had
Somebody should
remarkable
shake your parents and grandparents' hands, because that's a wonderful, comprehensive thing to bring your kid up in. That's fabulous.
Yes, I had a remarkable family.
You married shortly after high school, you said?
Yes.
When you finished high school?
Well, I met him shortly after high school. I was 18 when I met him.
Okay, how'd you meet?
Actually, we were introduced by my cousin Carrie.
Okay.
As teenagers back in those days, you would ride around town.
Oh, yeah.
You would go from Ingles to Bells because it wasn't one way. You would high five going down the road.
We were talking about this last week. It's so funny. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, those were the good old days. I tell my kids all the time, you do not know what you are missing. Those were the days. Ingles, Bells, Bells, Ingles. And every once in a while, you'd venture out to Royston, maybe ride around Hardee's over there. But yeah, we were introduced by my cousin Carrie, and been
And you didn't
together.
know him, or did you know who he was, or anything?
No,
like that?
he tries to aggravate me. I love you, Kevin. But he does. He tries to aggravate me and said, I saw you first. I asked somebody, you were walking out of the gas station. I'm like, who's that lady? And he's like, she's not a lady. She's a kid or a teenager, And
So y'all were not in high school at the same time?
no. He's actually 5 years older than me. He
Well,
went
you
to
barely
school.
missed him then.
Yeah, he actually went to school with my older sister.
Okay.
So, and he picks on me because when he was actually fighting in Gulf War I, I was in 9th grade.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, but yes, we have been together a total of 25 years.
That's fantastic.
Yes,
So you met him at 18, and by the time you met him, he had
Yes.
already been in the military?
Yes.
He'd already been over to the Gulf War?
Yes. I
Wow,
did not meet
okay.
him until, 3 years after he had come home.
Okay. So do you remember meeting him? Were you set up on a date, or somebody just introduced you?
We were just, like I said, riding around town, and he had come over and was talking to Carrie, and Carrie was like, "This is Kevin. Kevin, this is Angie." We all go riding around, and
Do you remember thinking, wow, he's cute?
Yeah, I did. I did.
Were you tongue-tied, or were you just immediately comfortable?
Probably comfortable. I don't remember. But yeah, he's always been just laid back and easy,
Yeah.
to talk to. But I remember when I was leaving, he winked at me. And that just, how you get those butterflies, and I was, he's the one.
Oh, that's so cute. And you went out right after that,
Yes.
and you said, this is it?
Yep.
Did you tell your mom and dad, hey, I have met somebody, and this is it for
Yes,
me?
yes,
Aw.
most definitely.
Were they like, we need to meet him?
Of course,
Yeah.
of course. And we brought him, I remember the first time I ever brought him to my home, that's our anniversary that we went on our first
Your
date,
first
is
date
what I
anniversary,
said.
yeah.
And it was Super Bowl Sunday. And so we sat and watched the Super Bowl. Well, actually, we sat on the living room floor and watched the Super Bowl.
With your family?
Yes.
Oh my
Yes.
gosh, nothing like diving off the deep end.
Yeah. Yeah,
He didn't just have to come in and meet.
Yeah.
He stayed.
Yep.
Wow. Well, and were they like giving you the thumbs up behind the couch?
Yeah, they have a lot of respect. My dad loves him. Of course, with that veteran background and
yeah.
everything, they can talk very well with
Your dad's
each
a
other.
veteran too,
Yes,
then, Vietnam,
yeah.
you said.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
So they have that bond.
they do. They do, most definitely.
Were they both in the Air Force?
No, my dad was actually an Army Ranger.
Oh, wow.
So,
Okay. Yeah, they have their own language.
They
just
do.
about.
they do.
That is great. And he is, he's not career military, or was he career military? Okay.
No,
Okay.
he did his time and fought in the Gulf War, and then he come back and stayed active.
Uh-huh.
I can't remember how long, maybe 6 years.
Okay.
And then he got out.
Okay. Fantastic. Well, we appreciate the service of both your husband and your dad.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell us about your first few years. You're having kids, you're working, and how did that go?
We have 2 sons. I have Justin, who is 22, and he's actually going to college at University of North Georgia.
Okay.
He is going into criminal justice,
good
so I'm
for him.
super proud of that.
Yeah.
And then we have Luke, and he is in the 8th grade here at Hart County Middle School, and he's on the fishing team, and he loves that. And
That's great.
So
it's great we have a fishing team. We should have a
Yes.
fishing team being on the lake, right?
Yes.
But I don't think that's been around forever, the fishing team.
No, it's actually in its 3rd year.
Okay.
Yes, and
It's very popular, though.
it
isn't
is, and it's great. And I will tell you this: if they had had it back when I was in high school, I would be a professional fisherman.
Yeah.
I love to fish. That is something we do as a family. So most definitely, and it is great that Mr. Gaines at the high school, this was something that his father-in-law, Mr. Fleming, had wanted to do for a long time.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he took the steps to make it happen with some local fishermen. And
Okay. Well, that's great because there is a process to fishing. We had Cephas McCrae on here who has nuts and bolts of fishing. And it isn't something that you just go out and flip your line out. You might get lucky, but there's a process to it. There's understanding it.
Yes.
There's how to treat the fish, and there's all kinds of ecological issues. And it's wonderful that they're teaching the kids that from early on.
Very much so.
good.
And it teaches those kids that aren't necessarily into baseball or into football. It gives them an out as well,
Right.
or they're not in the band,
Right.
or they could be in the band and run track and be on the fishing team.
Right.
But it just gives them another, outage or, something to do. And then it teaches them, not only that, it teaches them, along with anything else, about having a partner and working together. Because when they
that's
go
good.
to these, bigger tournaments out, I think Luke and Landon, they did. They actually went to Alabama, Guntherville, and fished.
Okay.
And, it teaches them how to just be out in the world a little bit and how to follow rules and all of that good stuff.
That's huge.
It's a great organization, and I am so glad that they did start it.
Yeah, me too. We've got all kinds of good things going on
Yes.
at the school now. This is a very good time to have kids going through the school system here.
Most definitely.
Did your oldest son is 22, so he missed the college and career academy part.
He did.
Yeah, because mine did too, and I hate that because they would have so benefited
Yes.
from that.
Yes.
So your youngest will be able to take advantage of all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Are either of your boys musical?
Yes, of course. In our house, we play College of Rock and Roll Knowledge. So
Yay.
my oldest son Justin, he was never really into music, and in the 10th grade, he decided, I want to be in the marching band.
Wow, that's not something you usually decide halfway through high school, right?
No. And Alan said, okay, I'm going to put you in the pits on the marimba. We'll see how you do. He's basically giving him an audition. If you do well, then, you can stay in. If
Right.
not, whatever. But
Right.
he went in and he picked it up right away.
Wow.
And for his sophomore year, every night up until about 11, we would hear the practice pad for snare. And I'm like, of course I'm not going to deter him from playing or anything. I wanted him to accomplish it if
Right.
he wanted to.
Right.
And he did. He
You just have to get the earplugs out.
He made a snare line for the next drum season.
Wow, that's
So-
remarkable, starting so late.
Yep.
So it's never too late to start.
Oh, no.
If you have the desire to do it. And
No. Even if you're my age, pick it up.
Yeah.
Go on YouTube. It'll
Right.
teach you how to do it.
that is awesome. I have tried to play, I grew up playing the piano. That was not a choice for us. That was, you will start piano lessons at 8 and go through until as long as you can bear them. But I always wanted to pick up the guitar. The problem with the guitar is you're either all in or not in because the fingers take some toughening and it hurts for a while
It
until they
does.
toughen up. And so you can't My problem is I was all in, and then I stopped, and your fingers get tender again, and then you start again. So you can't start and stop the guitar. You have to be all in.
Mm-hmm.
One day, I'm going to be all in again. I told Jody DeMarco, I'm going to take lessons one day, and I'm going to be all in.
Well, that's the route with Luke. He has an electric guitar, and then we have an acoustic. That Justin actually took guitar class in high school, and so we have his acoustic guitar as well. So I'll pick
That's
it
nice.
up, and
Yeah.
and that's one thing I've learned with Luke is he can pick up. Like he'll come and he'll say, "Mama, Daddy, come listen," and he's listened and taught himself how to play something.
Wow.
So yeah, he does have that play by ear.
That's nice.
So.
That's
Yeah.
great. Well, I hope he sticks with it.
I do
If he
too.
could.
I do too.
Either one of the kids writers like you?
Justin, to a certain degree, is. He's very. He writes very well as far as like reports and stuff for school.
Okay.
And if Luke has something going on and Justin's home, then he wants to be his editor. So
nice.
he does have a touch of it.
That's good. That's good. And what kinds of things did your husband like to do? He liked to fish, obviously.
He likes to fish, and we ride motorcycles.
And it's Kevin Rowland. We never officially said
My
that, but we said
apologies.
Kevin.
I am married to Kevin Rowland. He is my best friend, my biggest fan, and my biggest critic.
Oh, that's awesome. 25 years in.
25 years.
Congratulations. I'm on my 25 too.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
This day and time, that's something.
It is. I'm proud of that. I
am
really am
too.
proud of that. And here's to 25 more for both of us.
Amen to that.
So he likes to fish, and he likes, what else does he like to do? Is he an outdoor kind of guy?
He is. He loves to read.
Mm-hmm.
He loves to just soak in anything knowledgeable. Anything that
really?
he can learn, he's on it.
That's great.
Because I'll come in from work and he's like, "Here, you need to read this," and it will be, something to.
So it's not trashy crime novels. This is
No.
how-to things.
Yes, this is how-to things.
That is cool.
Yes,
So good. Is he a library person or an internet person?
Both.
Both.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of the library myself.
Yeah, he loves reading books, and that was something. I can't sit still long enough.
You're a doer.
I'm a doer. Yes. When I'm at home, I've got to have a project of some sort.
Yeah.
Whether it's ripping up thrift store clothes into something, or
That is a
spray
great thing,
painting
by the
or
way.
Whatever.
I think that's from the standpoint when you take something, a thrift shop item of clothing in particular, and you refashion it into something, I think that is fabulous. And I wish you'd put some of that on your Heart Talk, just because it's so interesting. Because
well, it's fun.
if you think about how many right now we're on that, I guess maybe the tail end of the cycle where we bought from China and all these other places that mass produce clothing, and so we have bought it so cheap, and now it's just cast off.
Yeah.
You can't even give this stuff away now, which is incredible. But if you go to a thrift shop and find something and you have the ability to cut it down into something that's more useful for you, what a skill.
Yes, I'll be like, "Oh, I love that pattern," but it might be, revealing here or something like that. And I'm not a revealing person, so I'm like, okay, I can take this stitch and I can turn that into a skirt. And
Did somebody show you how to sew, or is that something you picked up on? your own
my
too?
grandmother, actually both of them.
Both grandmothers?
Yeah, my grandma Daisy and my mama Darcy. They both, were sewers, and my grandmother Daisy would make me dresses and all that good
Is
stuff.
Daisy the Vickery
Yes,
side?
yes.
And then Darcy is the...
She was a Carnes out of
Carnes.
Elberton.
Okay.
And she married a Carnes.
Okay.
And then he actually passed away when my mom was 4.
Oh, wow.
And so she remarried, and it was Doris Coster. And
Okay.
she was originally she lived in Anderson, but she moved here later in her life.
Okay. And
lived
she
here
was
a few
also a
years.
seamstress.
Yes.
And your grandmother Daisy made your clothes.
Yeah, she would make us little summer dresses and to wear to church and all that. And
My mom made all of our clothes when I was growing up. I thought everybody's mom made all their clothes. I didn't know, and I didn't know.
well, see, I think that's a talent. I mean, that is
know.
amazing to me.
Yeah.
And, especially the patterns of like the 60s and 70s. Oh, I wish all those clothes would come back.
I know.
I would
do
be
too.
in heaven if that style would actually come back, which they are with the bell bottoms.
It was stylish, right?
I
It was
love that
very
style.
stylish.
Yes.
Much better than the grungy everything else. So when you see something in the thrift shop and you like the pattern or the fabric, because right now when you go to buy clothes, my personal gripe is the fabric is so cheap.
Yes.
And it just won't even survive a wash. So if you do get lucky enough to find something with good fabric, how do you know what you're going to do with it? Do you just make it up, or do you have a real pattern?
I just, whatever my eye catches at the moment is
And you
what I
just
don't
know
have a
how
pattern.
to cut it down or hem it in or tuck it in. Or that is a gift too. You are multi-gifted.
Thank you. I stay busy.
Yeah.
I stay busy.
Projects is
Yeah,
good.
Kevin has to tell me something. Hey, come sit down. Come watch this with me.
So,
you know?
okay, I'll ask you this because you're an active person. With the time change coming on us this weekend, I just get so depressed because it gets dark so early and I panic because I don't know what to do with myself between dark 30 and bedtime. And I don't like to watch much TV. I mean, I like a few things, but I really don't like to sit and watch. I want to do. So what are some of the things I can do with my evening hours?
I want you to get the guitar out.
Okay, get the guitar out. I can
Yes.
do that. Get on
and
YouTube.
Get on YouTube.
Okay. All right.
And, you know.
Or go see Jody and take a lesson from Jody.
Yes.
Okay,
Go
I
see
can do
Jody
that.
and take a lesson.
I can do that because that would fill my winter nighttime
Well,
when I get so anxious.
I don't know. I'm constantly having to move and yeah,
And I love to read, but I don't know if I think it's because I come from a family of doers as well. My mom in particular, well, my dad too, they never sat down. They had hobbies and things to do and chores and fixing things, and they never really sat down except to catch up on the news, and that was it. And I feel guilty. I love to read, but I kind of feel like I should be doing something, you know? So I do read, but I feel like I need something. So guitar.
Get the guitar out. Or you can do like me. I went to auctioneer school. Became an auctioneer.
What? We're 45 minutes in and you're just now bringing this up?
Yeah.
That is cool and interesting.
Yes. I went.
So what made you think you wanted to do that?
It's something, I like going to the auction.
Yeah.
I never thought about being an auctioneer whatsoever.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those things. My husband said, you would be great. You do not meet a stranger. You love to talk.
Yeah.
You would be good at this. And I'm like,
So when was this? When did you go?
I actually went February of this year.
Wow.
Yes. And
Cool. I didn't know there was a school for auctioneering.
yes,
That is cool.
Southeastern School of Auctioneering, and it's out of South Carolina.
How about that?
And so I've built me a website, you know, and I actually went to school, and then 2 weeks later I had my license because you have to be state certified.
didn't know that either.
Yeah,
Okay.
you have to actually go and take a state exam.
What
And so I passed
what
that.
do they teach you in auctioneer school? How to speak quickly?
No, I really that was my only thing. I was like, I can't talk fast, and that was one thing they told me, like, that's beside the point.
Oh.
You know, this
that
is
just what
they
you see
taught
on
me
TV?
about antiques and, you know, different things about how to market yourself and the rules and regulations of selling firearms, and, you know, it's just it's a lot of stuff
I
that
wouldn't
you
have
have
thought
to
about that.
Yes.
Okay.
It's a lot of stuff that you have to know, you know, in becoming one. And so I started out with Larry Mears. He's actually of Mears Property, great people. And, you know, after auctioneering school and I got my license, I'm like, okay, what do I do? What do I do? So I called him, and he was great. He was like, you can, you know, help me kind of get some experience under your belt. I'm actually doing his social media and his website now. And it's just kind of given me the behind the scenes of how I need to do things. And so he was like, you know, you can do estate sales and
Ooh, that would be
online
fun.
sales and, you know, stuff like that.
Online sales?
Yes, they actually have, you know, different auction sites, and I'm actually in the process of building one for the Lake Hartwell area.
Nice.
Yeah, so you can,
That's
you know,
cool.
come on, put your things on there that you want to auction off.
So if you have a house, let's say your great aunt Susie passes away and she has no kids and you have no use for things, do you just upload everything like that onto that auction?
Basically, you would contact me. I would come out to your home or her home and give you an idea of what it would bring. It's not set in stone because people are going to bid what they want to bid, but you would have like a day that people can come and, look at the items that they would be bidding on. Then you put it online for however many days, 7 to 14 days for the auction cycle, so everybody gets a chance to see it. And then once the auction ends, you have a 2-day pickup, just say a Thursday and Friday. You would, come out and let them pick up. And basically, you just take a photo of each and every piece. You log it, you upload it to that specific estate sale that you're doing, and then people go online and bid on it.
And so you're also able to help them value a piece. That's a good thing.
Yes, and that's something that I'm learning, with Mr. Mears. And if there's something that I'm not sure of, then I have him that I can call in with me.
Yeah, that's cool because we don't have anything like that here.
Yeah, and he's actually, his license number is like 109. He has been in the auctioneering business for over 45 years, and he's actually helped write some of the regulations and stuff with the South Carolina side of it.
Wow, so, that's interesting.
And we're like sister states with them. So
so reciprocal, kind of like a real estate license.
And I think it's really Georgia. There's a lot. There's very few states that you can't reciprocal with. So
yeah. What kind of items are typical in an auction?
It is different. Actually, it's different. You might have someone that had a car collection, anywhere from actual automobile to, model cars. So it's just different to
you just never know, do you?
You don't. It could be someone who lived on the lake and was big in fishing, and it might be a lot of fishing stuff. Or you may have someone who lived in town and just family heirlooms and all that.
Because the greatest generation never threw anything away.
Exactly.
So there's a lot of that, right?
There is. And it's fascinating to see all this stuff that people have accumulated over the years or have been handed down. One estate sale that we did out of South Carolina, she had one of the original flags that had 48 stars on it. So imagine how old that is,
Wow.
And it was just fascinating to see all of her relics of back then, and where she got them from and all that. So it's fascinating to go out and meet people whenever you're doing that.
Yeah, that is cool. So what's your future look like? You're going to get into anything you haven't done that you're super interested in trying to learn?
Anything and everything.
Yeah, the list is long, right?
Yeah, I'm always looking to learn something.
See, when it's somebody like yourself that is so curious, I guess, about everything and wanting to learn so much, your list is long.
It is, and my passion right now is focusing on our community and the small businesses, because I feel that small businesses is the heart of the community. And I just want them to understand the way the marketing is going this day and time, and that they need someone that, number one, is going to treat their business like their own. They're going to care about it like they care about it. And just to give me that opportunity to show them that bringing somebody with an outside of the box thinking, what it can do for them as far as
and free them up to run their business.
Because there's so much involved, even the way, as far as the search engines go. Google is the largest search engine right now, and they have what we call a crawler. And so if your website, if it's not the verbiage isn't right on it for SEO, then Google may pick it up up, but it's going to put you on the bottom of the list.
Oh, wow.
So there's just a lot that goes into the back end.
You don't want to be
that
on the bottom.
Yeah. And,
Because if you
and
Google,
then,
it's going to say 19,475
Yes.
responses, right? And you'll
Yeah.
never scroll through page one or two.
Exactly. And it's all about tearing out the fluff. I'm not a fluff person.
Okay.
I'm going to be, I'm straightforward. I don't want to build you with fluff. So it's about tearing down the fluff and saying, hey, this is what you need to do and this is where you need to focus.
You're such an asset for the community. I do hope that the business owners around here take that seriously and work with you on managing their social media and maybe creating a website if
Yes.
they don't have one, or improving the one they do have.
Exactly.
So you were super fun. And so this, you know what this means, since we have more material, you have to come back.
Most definitely. Anytime.
Well, thank you for
Anytime.
being here.
I have enjoyed myself. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us this week. Thanks, Wes Bailey, for your expert direction. And I'll see you next week on Community Conversations.